We thank Cantor Hollis for that beautiful song of welcome. Hine matov umanayim shevet achim gam yachad. How good it is when we are able to sit together one another. And in this way, we feel how good it is to be back in person for our Thanksgiving service. This annual tradition of the Wayland Interfaith Leaders Association, an opportunity for communities from across our town to come together. Last year, while we were able to celebrate, it was different. It felt a little strange being on screens exclusively. And this year, it's still a little different, because we know that while there are people in the sanctuary, it's wonderful to see your faces here with us, there are also others who are watching at home via the live stream to be with us today. But what hasn't changed is the wonderful statement that we are able to make as a town by bringing our respective communities together for a moment of thanks, a moment of praise, a moment just to be in community with one another, enriched by our differences and by the traditions that we all have an opportunity to share on this day as we give thanks. And while all of our speakers will introduce themselves when they come up to speak, I do want to just recognize the different institutions who are represented today, including Temple Shir Tikva, First Parish in Wayland, Peace Lutheran Church, the Community United Methodist Church, the Baha'is of Wayland, the Islamic Center of Boston, Congregation Or Atid, Good Shepherd Parish, Mayan Tikva, and the Parmenter Foundation, where our guest speaker is come to us from. When I was thinking about today, the challenge for us is, how do we approach a moment of thanksgiving with all of the various emotions that we are carrying with us? There was a point where some of us expected that at this Thanksgiving, we could come together and give thanks for having returned fully to normal, for things to be back as they were, and to give thanks for all of those accomplishments and achievements and endeavors that had got us to that point. But that's not the case. And so as we come together, we have to recognize the grief that we are carrying into this space. So much that has been lost over this past year and the year preceding it. We have to recognize the challenges that we are all still facing in terms of this pandemic and ways that we're trying to come together in this country. We need to acknowledge the hope that we have for things to be better. What will the future hold for all of us? And so on this Thanksgiving Day, I want us to take a moment to just allow ourselves to acknowledge the grief that we might have experienced or feel as we enter into this space. Recognizing over 19,000 deaths from COVID-19 in Massachusetts and over 770,000 deaths in the USA as a whole. So let's just take a moment to recognize those things that have been lost. Not just life, but moments of life, interactions and opportunities to come together. But from our biblical book, Job says to us, Adonai natan v'Adonai lakach, Yehi Shem Adonai mevorach. God gives and God takes away. Blessed be the name of God. And so we find that opportunity recognizing that God has taken, but God also gives. And so as we enter into this moment of thanksgiving, I want us also to take a moment to think about all those things that we are grateful for. The opportunity to be together in person. The vaccine that is available for us and now for our children. The way that our communities have come together in various ways at various points to support one another. Despite the challenges, there is so much that we can all be grateful for. So much to give thanks for. And so while we took in a moment to recognize those things of grief in our lives, let's also take a moment for the smile, to recognize those things for which we are grateful. Because in the Psalms we read, Tov lahodot la'Adonai. It is good to give thanks to God. It is good to give thanks and to recognize the gratitude that we have. And as we enter into this moment, beginning for many of us our Thanksgiving week, if you will, of celebration, it's also important that we recognize that this is a complicated time for some. For our indigenous peoples, this is not a simple time of just giving thanks. And we want to recognize that at the very beginning of our service in the way that we come together, and with the fact that we will be collecting donations at today's service for the Okateu Cultural Center. We'll talk a little bit more about them later on, but for now we continue with recognition.